I identify as Guachichil because I took a lot of time and effort to reconnect to my indigenous ancestry. I learned a whole lot about the history and the culture, and I know it really freaking well. I've studied it for years at this point. I traced my tree for over 1,000 hours. I became a professional genealogist. That's why I have this channel, and I help people find their own ancestors and reconnect to their own indigenous heritage as well. I'm part of a Guachichil descendant group that helps other Guachichil descendants reconnect. I've been to San Luis Potosi, to where my ancestors are from. I've talked to descendants there that identify as Guachichil, are recognized by the government in Mexico as Guachichil. Now they are. And I'm part of those types of efforts to try to continue to bring that together. And that's why I've made a lot of content, especially with my buddy Isaac before. I have an indigenous podcast like on YouTube. I'm working with my friend Marcus there because I do want people to reconnect to that. But I will say, like, if you're talking about in terms of race, well, yes, I'm racially mixed. I'm not going to deny that. But that is just beside the point. That doesn't invalidate reconnecting to an indigenous heritage or holding that close to your heart and going with that, And considering that, our race of people underwent a massive genocide on this side of the world, it is absolutely within our right to do those types of things. As far as if you do it with respect, you're not stepping over existing, tribal communities and things like that, right? But yeah, I mean, if we look at my latest DNA update with Ancestry, I'm like 34% European or whatever, 50% indigenous, the rest is Sephardic Jewish, things like that. But that is how I identify first and foremost is Guachichil, Mexican, and then of course, if we're talking about race, well, yes, I'm racially mixed, but I've never been perceived as a white person. I'm going to be upfront with you. In Alabama, whenever I've gone abroad to in Asia, I've just been perceived as an Asian when I'm there, which I think is funny, but it's because of the indigenous heritage. So it's multifaceted, it's complex, but that is my story in a nutshell. And I speak 4 different languages. So I also have a different type of perspective too because of my travels to Philippines, China, Australia, Costa Rica, a bunch of countries speaking Portuguese fluently, and in Mandarin I speak at a B2 level, like upper intermediate level. All that has also given me like a different type of global perspective because you also kind of assimilate cultural elements when you learn a different language as well. So I also wanted to throw that in there. In the future, I'd like to learn the Guachichil language if it can be revitalized with time. Right now, we only have like a couple hundred words.